Eagles, Super Bowl, bound, baby. Bound, I tell you. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Marc Farzy. Welcome into the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. Oh, my goodness gracious. Here's what I said on the postgame show that I do with Derek Gunn and Devin Katie. Here's what I started that show with last night. I'm going to start my show with it today. Here's what we got for you. This is all under the umbrella of it was against the Lions, okay? It was against the Lions. We all understand it was against the Lions. I don't care. We all know what that means. It was against the Lions. It's like, oh, it's only the preseason. Yes, I understand it's only the preseason. It's all under that umbrella of the qualifier, if you will. Everything you were saying is couched under the umbrella of, once again, it was the Lions. However, I don't think the Eagles are really going to get too many opportunities to blow teams out 44-6. So I'm going to go ahead and enjoy it for what it is. I had my doubts about this game. I picked the Eagles to win barely by a point, and they ended up blowing them out of the water. Good for Nick Sirianni and this game plan. Great for Boston Scott and this run game. Great for Jordan Howard. Phenomenal for the offensive line. Great for Jonathan Gannon and his defensive scheme, being aggressive, blitzing more than we have ever seen him blitz, which was like maybe 5 blitzes we saw in this game in total. That was like an astronomical number for JG, as they like to say. Good for Alex Singleton disrupting things as a linebacker, approaching the line of scrimmage with a blitz. That's great. Good for Marcus Epps making plays when he was called upon to make plays. That's all wonderful. Josh Sweat coming up with 2 sacks. Milton Williams getting a sack for himself in this game. It was all one. Derek Barnett getting a sack for himself. Yes! Positives galore. All that you can push aside. And that's the bottom line. Those are the results, right? And I don't like it when people say, don't be focused on the results. You got to be focused on the process. And that's what Jalen Hurts has said throughout this entire year. And it's really the one thing I've heard him say throughout this entire year that I go, I don't really think I agree with that one there, Jalen. But I'm going to look at this. The best thing to come out of this week was the flower speech from Nick Sirianni. And I'm not even saying that in jest. I'm not saying that to poke more fun at the coach and all the fun we had with it last week. But when we hear in our Rothman Orthopaedics postgame report, hearing from all the people that spoke in the locker room after the game, from Avonte Maddox and Dallas Goedert gave a ringing endorsement from his head coach. And yesterday when I spoke to John McMullen, who talked to a lot of these players, one of the things he said was that speech is ultimately what unified this locker room. And yes, it was against the Lions, but still, the Eagles went out there and did exactly what they were supposed to do against the worst team in the NFL, in the Detroit Lions. Love to see that. And for some people picking the Eagles to lose this game against the Lions, that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to negativity as far as this game went. Oh, I'm just being real. Did you really think they were the worst team in football? I didn't think that they were the worst team in football. I still don't think Nick Sirianni is a great head coach or anything like that, but he had a good game plan going into this one, and they executed it properly. We talked a lot about in the Super Bowl year, a lot about the dog masks. And, hey, whatever it takes to bring a locker room together whenever they're facing turmoil, like losing their starting quarterback. The flower speech might be the dog mask of this season. Not saying that they're going to go on and even make the playoffs, but just in terms of watching a better brand of football than what we have watched through the first 7 weeks of the season, now 8 weeks of the season, I'm all for that. If we get to watch better football because somehow this locker room found a way to become united behind their head coach after everyone, including myself, was ripping them for talking about daisies and tulips and photosynthesis and all sorts of botany, if that's what people were getting into and people were getting upset about, and that unified the locker room, I'm all for it. Fine by me. Whatever you need. And those types of things, I think, become bulletin board material for fans as well as players, especially players. Because, look, nobody wants to believe the person leading them is a moron. Nobody wants to believe that. And that's basically what Nick Sirianni was called throughout the entire week. I stopped short of name calling, but anytime you want to label somebody who's supposed to be a leader of men as a moron, people don't want to really follow that guy. So they rather believe, no, I'm going to prove everybody else wrong, that Nick Sirianni actually knows what he's doing as a head coach and knows how to unify this locker room, knows how to pump us up, and knows how to get us going. And you came out and you saw that type of performance. Even so much where it was the first time this year where we actually heard of players having input on the game plan and how they were going to play the game after the first openers, I believe is the word Nick Sirianni used yesterday, which is the first 7 plays. When we reference the first, the opening drive or the scripted plays, first 15 plays, or whatever, Nick Sirianni said yesterday after the game that those were his openers. And they had 5 runs of the 7 plays that they actually scripted. 5 of those were runs. So it was going to be part of the game plan anyway. But Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, other guys go to the sideline, tell Nick Sirianni, they can't stop us. Boston Scott even says after the game, yeah, we love running the football because when we're running the football like this, yeah, go ahead and stop us. We dare you, stop us. Because you're beating down the defense both physically and mentally when you're running the football well. And that's exactly what they were doing in this game. So Lane Johnson, some other veterans go over to Nick Sirianni and say, for the first time this season, you hear that players are having input in the game day decisions. And they're saying, keep running the football. Keep running the football to the tune of 46 run attempts. Combined with Jalen Reagor running the football, combined with Jalen Hurts running the football, and then obviously Jordan Howard running the football, Boston Scott, and Kenny Gainwell. Keep on running the football because they ain't stopping us. I can remember a game a couple of years ago against the Giants. Lane Johnson was signaling to Doug Peterson, keep running the ball while still in the field. Let's keep running it. They can't stop us. I saw one of the best rhythmic offenses I have seen the Eagles have in the Nick Sirianni era in the first 8 games, albeit. I've seen Jalen Hurts look comfortable. I saw all your running backs get involved in the game, and they didn't really miss a beat without Miles Sanders in there. I would still love to have Miles Sanders back, as would anybody. But just saying, in this particular game, it was great to see them actually go out there and execute and do what they were supposed to do. The one thing I asked of the Eagles going into this game, I labeled it a prove-it game. All right, prove you're nowhere near the same low level of the Detroit Lions. And they went out there, and they proved that they weren't. Good on them for that. Another big challenge coming up. Right on Sunday, taking on the LA Chargers, so we'll see what happens there. But this is the type of game that you want to have is almost a get-right game. You want to have a weak opponent like the Detroit Lions just to make sure you can do all the things on you right. Good for you for doing it. We talked a lot about how Jalen Hurts had always gone into the idea of how this is the type of team that can't shoot itself in the foot. Nick Sirianni has come out and said there's all the self-inflicted wounds. They got to get right. Well, they got it right in this game, especially in the penalty marker here. 2 penalties the Eagles were called for. 2 penalties for 15 yards in this game. That's something that is not a self-inflicted wound. That's something that's not giving an opportunity to the Detroit Lions. And if you want to take one thing away from it, you could take this. The Ravens could not beat the Lions the way the Eagles just beat the Lions. The Packers, another really good football team, did not beat the Lions the way the Eagles beat the Lions. The Eagles, of the 8 losses the Detroit Lions have suffered this season, the Eagles handed them their worst loss of the season. So as bad as it's been for the Lions, they were at their worst against Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon, Jalen Hurts, Boston Scott. Like, they were at their worst against those guys. So, okay, of all the teams to beat them, now you could also argue that maybe those teams didn't need a win as badly as the Eagles needed a win, so maybe they were overlooking their opponent just a little bit. Well, guess what? The Eagles did it. Nick Sirianni had him focused, and Nick Sirianni had him ready to rock. Love what I saw from this team yesterday. Now, what does it all mean, right? What does it all mean? Well, the first thing is maybe this is the unifying moment in the locker room behind their head coach, and maybe that just goes well for everybody else in the locker room. Maybe that's the case. Great. Phenomenal if that's the case. Wonderful. But the Eagles most likely will never run the ball 46 times again for the rest of the season. If they do, then I hope it's another 40-plus blowout, whatever, and you're just able to kill the clock in the second half of the game. Maybe that's great. I doubt they're going to have many opportunities to do that. But whenever people bang the drum for the run game, this isn't really the type of game even that they're talking about. And you're talking about 200-plus yards on the ground. Right? So that's pretty good. But I think most people realize that's the extreme. You can take these concepts that you used, jet sweeps with a speedy wide receiver, however long Jalen Reagor might be out or may not be out. You still have Quez Watkins that can run these jet sweeps. Love seeing what they were able to incorporate. So I love the little throwback play they had there. I think it was Quez Watkins or Kenny Gainwell who threw the ball back to Jalen Hurts, who bombed it down the field to Dallas Goedert. That was a nice little play there. Nice catch too, one-handed catch there by Jalen Hurts on the play. That's all great. These concepts you can take and not just play them against the Lions and use them against the Lions. You can use them against the Chargers. You can use them against the Cowboys. How about them winning again yesterday? You can use them later in the season against better opponents because they work when they're that well executed. And if you're able to execute those plays, you'll be able to win some ball games in the NFL. And the Eagles went out there and they had a great game plan going into this game. Their veterans stepped up and said, let's stick with the run game. And they can continue to do that throughout the rest of the season. And no, not just because it's the Lions. Guess what? Play action also worked against the Raiders, and they got away from it. Play action works against the Lions. They stuck with it, and they ended up winning a game, putting up 44 points. So you can continue to do that. You can continue. How amazing is this? You can continue to use the run to set up the pass. Right? Did I just blow your minds with that football concept that it was totally original and not at all cliche? Like a game like this isn't what we're talking about when we're talking about, oh, you should have a more run to pass balance. No, that's not what we're talking about. Because what did Jalen Hurts throw? 14 passes in this game in total? What we're talking about is using the run to help your passing game. And more often than not, you're going to have to rely on the passing game, especially in today's NFL. And that's not breaking news by any means. But you can take a lot of the concepts you used in this game and you can apply it down the line. So you did what you were supposed to do against the Detroit Lions. Good hustle, Philadelphia Eagles. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. Now, take what worked in this game really well and make sure there's a little taste of this game in the rest of the games this season. Smart game planning, well executed, no mind-boggling penalties. Take this and use it throughout the rest of the season. And good things will happen. And we'll all look at each other and be like, I remember the first couple weeks of the season, and it was terrible. They really bounced back after that. Stack as many wins as possible. They got 3 now. You're going to be welcoming the Chargers. The Saints team looked like they were something unbelievable against the Buccaneers yesterday, so the Saints were actually able to beat with their backup quarterback for the vast majority, Trevor Siemian. They were actually able to beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers yesterday. So and then they got the Giants tonight facing the Chiefs in Kansas City. So hopefully that's a get-right game for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. But you have an opportunity here. The Washington lost yesterday. So the Eagles have an opportunity here to put themselves in a position for a wild card when the schedule gets a lot easier as the season goes on. So they got the win that they were supposed to win. Hopefully this is also a game where you're able to take a lot of the samples of run plays and play action and jet sweeps and all that, and you're able to apply it on down the line. That's all. That's all you can really look at from this game. Of course, there will be the people. Just brace yourself for this. When you go into work today, when you get ready for a Zoom meeting or whatever it is, and somebody brings up the Eagles, just be careful of that Joe. You know it was only the Lions, right? Shut up, Joe. I feel like everybody knows the Joe. So yeah, just tell Joe to pump the brakes on him telling you to pump the brakes. That's all I'll say about that. On a serious note, we'll hear from Lane Johnson a little bit later in the show from what he had to say in his post-game news conference as we run through all the sound from Rothman Orthopaedics. And I just have to say this. I am blown away by Lane Johnson coming out yesterday after the game. And first off, the interview that he did with Jay Glazer, which was just, I would say, riveting. It was about 4.5 minutes, and I just sat there staring at the screen, and I don't even know if I took a breath. I'm listening to this man that I've gotten to know a little bit, and I've had a lot of fun with interviewing over the years. He's always had something to say, certainly. So he's always a great soundbite, and he's always a guy you can go to and talk to. And I don't think there's been one time where Lane Johnson was like, "Hey, not today, Mark." It's always ready to talk. Same thing with Brandon Brooks, whose name came up a lot yesterday in the post-game news conference. But I admire. I hope a lot more people take an opportunity, take the time to listen to Lane Johnson's one-on-one with Jay Glazer, and also watch his press conference from yesterday. I'll be playing a couple of clips from the press conference, but if you want to see it in its entirety, it is on the Philadelphia Eagles website. It's in amongst the names of Avonte Maddox, I think is one of the names they have out there. And it's about a half-hour clip of all different vignettes of the news conferences that they put together. Boston Scott's another one. Lane is the last one. I think the last 10 minutes of the 30-minute press conference piece is just Lane Johnson speaking for the most part about his anxiety, his depression, and also talking about the run game. He's also thrown in there too. He gets asked about how well they were running the football. So that was great. But just to anybody who is going through mental illness, anyone who has that issue, by all means, just give a listen to Lane. As the saying has come out nowadays, it's okay to not be okay. I think Lane is a great champion for that saying right now, especially when he talks about all the things that he went through. In the interview with Jay Glazer, he was asked basically what was it like when you wake up in the morning and you have those feelings of anxiety and depression and you hear those voices in your head telling you the negative things that they were telling you. What were they saying? And Lane Johnson summed it up by saying it felt like doom. Like it felt like the darkest place you could imagine. It felt like doom, like the whole world was against you. He talked about not just vomiting, but vomiting blood from vomiting every single day because of the anxiety and the depression that he was going through. And this was a result also of trying to wean himself off the drug that he was on, the medication that he was on, because he thought he could be bigger than this. And he was so ashamed and embarrassed to have this. Oh, no, I can get over this on my own. And it just didn't work out like that, unfortunately. So I definitely recommend anybody who is going through something personally to just give it a watch and know that you're not alone and know that it's not okay, or that it is okay to not be okay. So I recommend that for everybody. It was pretty amazing. And also from a football perspective, Lane Johnson was just throwing people around yesterday. Lane Johnson looked like he had it cooking. And a little bit later, when we do hear from him talking about the run game, there is something I have said many, many times over, and that is whenever I refer to my good friend Trey Thomas, he's the weirdest guy in the world in terms of he loved pass blocking more than run blocking. Like he wanted to hold that pass block as opposed to just hitting somebody and then the play's over, for him at least. But the vast majority of offensive linemen love run blocking because they just get to go right off the snap and boom, hit somebody and then the play's over, right? Lane Johnson gets giddy when he's asked about it after the game about how great it was to run the football 46 times and how great it was as an offensive lineman to just go out there, make contact, and then be done with it, and then also be able to find that rhythm with their other offensive linemen. And this can't be, look, I know it's Jack Driscoll, and I'm not putting Jack Driscoll in the Eagles Hall of Fame, okay? But he goes out in the first couple plays of the game, Nate Herbig comes in, they still run the ball 46 times. And when I say I want to see the Eagles take away something from this game, it's help out this young, inexperienced offensive line when you're talking about a Nate Herbig, you're talking about a Jack Driscoll, or you're talking about a Landon Dickerson. Help these guys out by running the football. Let them get a little bit of a rhythm. And you know what? That'll help your pass-happy offense. Because I got no doubt in my mind next week against the Chargers, Sunday, against the Chargers, you're going to have to be chucking the pigskin around. Because I think it's the only way you're going to be able to really keep up with that offense. Plus, Justin Herbert's a little bit better of a quarterback than Jared Goff fell. So when you look at it from that perspective, I just want to see them not ignore the run. That's all I'm asking for going forward. Don't ignore the run because of how many things it can open up for you. And Lane Johnson talking about it after the game just quite frankly made me feel giddy as well. I was like, oh, maybe we'll get a little bit more of this. Maybe we'll hear from the Eagles a little bit more often throughout the game to tell their coach, let's run the football a little bit. And I don't mean this as a dig to Jalen Hurts at all, because you guys know what a fan I am of Jalen Hurts and how hard I'm rooting for this guy to really be the guy. Perhaps taking a little bit off his plate and relying on the run game really helped him out in this game. Maybe not asking him to be Randall Cunningham and say, our offense is go make a play, Jalen. That's our offense. Maybe letting other people make plays and making easy decisions for Jalen Hurts was a good thing. And I also, two things that are negative, and I'm not going to harp on them, but they're worth acknowledging. One thing that just drove me crazy, I'm not going to go off on a tangent on this. I'm just merely going to reference them. First series of the game, Eagles get the ball on the 4-yard line, their own 4-yard line, and Nick Sirianni calls a play for Jalen Hurts to be in shotgun, putting him literally in his own end zone to start out the play. Who the hell does that? Why would you do that? Don't do that. Don't do that. Secondly, Devontae Smith, catch the ball. Catch the ball. I don't think you ever dropped the ball at Alabama. Dropped like 20 balls already in the NFL. Come on, man. I know some of them guys like swiping the ball out of your hands. Make the play. Just make the play. Jalen Hurts actually hit him on a slant perfectly. And Devontae Smith had a case of the dropsies. Come on, bro. We'll also hear from Avonte Maddox a little bit. Avonte Maddox, by the way, is very quietly having a great season. He's back playing on the inside. He's not being asked to right now be the corner opposite Darius Slay, because that's obviously Steven Nelson's job. We heard from Steven Nelson on the show last week. But Avonte Maddox is having a great season so far. Broke up a great play in Carolina that helped the Eagles win that game. It was early on in the game, but it also prevented the Eagles from going down 17-0 in that game. He broke up that play, had a huge interception, obviously, 2 weeks ago. It was great to see him come out with an interception against the Raiders. The Eagles weren't able to do much with that, unfortunately, but still he came up and made a big play. And then yesterday, he gets the punch out in the third quarter against the Lions that helped you really, just put an exclamation point on this game. I think that was for the 38-point, scoop and score by Darius Slay there, but it was punched out by Avonte Maddox. We'll hear from Avonte Maddox on that play in particular because it was great to watch that play. It was great to watch him be that physical and that aggressive. So overall, as pleased as you can be, as satisfied as you can be with a win over the Lions. You got that in your back pocket. You didn't blow it. You can feel pretty good about yourself going up against the Chargers, and then the schedule's gonna get a little easier as the season goes on. So I'm very happy about all that. And again, the two penalties. But 5 blitzes? All right, I can party with this. I can definitely party with this. Before we let you guys hear from the Rothman Orthopaedics post-game report, when we get to the locker room sound and all that stuff, I do want to tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. The man is just fantastic. Steven Singer, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia. Do what I do for all your big jewelry purchases, and make sure you head to Steven Singer Jewelers. I hate Steven Singer. With all the shipping delays and fulfillment issues expected for the holidays, Christmas shopping has come earlier than ever. That's right, folks. We're telling you Christmas stuff already. Time for the holidays. Luckily, Steven is giving every other jeweler out there another reason to hate him. Because here's what Steven's got going on. Steven has the number one gift this holiday: diamond stud earrings. And Steven is fully stocked with the most beautiful, best value, real diamond studs everywhere. First gift I got my wife when we were dating. I got her diamond studs. First gift I ever got her. It was on the first date. I said, please like me. No, I was kidding. But choose a great pair of Anita diamond stud earrings for under, it's actually kind of the way it went. But listen to this. Anita diamond stud earrings for under $270 at Steven Singer. Sound familiar? That's because that was the same price last year. He's not jacking up prices like everywhere else, just the perfect price every single day. No sales, no discounts, no BS. Steven's real diamond studs are flawless to the eye, near colorless, and come with his famous full value lifetime trade-in guarantee. You can trade up your diamond studs anytime and receive exactly what you paid towards a new pair. How about that? And all with an unbeatable full 100-day, 100% money-back guarantee, making it no-risk shopping for you early holiday shoppers. Go now, IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always with fast and free shipping. IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, let's jump into our Rothman Orthopaedics post-game report and hear from Nick Sirianni. Now, I'm not kidding you guys when I tell you that Nick Sirianni's little flower speech may have unified the locker room in terms of we thought maybe it had an opposite effect. That maybe that it would actually divide the locker room, being like, yeah, this guy ain't it. How am I supposed to play for this guy? Sort of like Fletcher Cox's attitude last week, which, by the way, one of the things I didn't note in my open there was that Fletcher Cox made a play on a screen. Hold on, let me, just so I know I have this right. I wrote it down in my notes. It was like one of the first, I think it was the first possession of the Lions in the third quarter. Fletcher Cox made the tackle on a screen play, shrugging off the one-on-one battle he had, just for the record, one-on-one, to make the tackle. So I guess that was free of charge because he doesn't get paid for that. So there you go. He was an intern on that play. There you go. So there you go, Fletcher Cox. Thanks for doing that early in the third quarter. Also early in the third quarter, the Eagles, that's also when they hit 200 yards rushing. Amazing. So Nick Sirianni was talking about after the game yesterday about how this week had gone for he and his team, and for him and his team, and a lot of criticism that he had been facing, and he just basically threw it back He didn't throw it back in the face. He took the humble route. But he was asked about the message to the team throughout the week and how they bounced back in yesterday's win.
I think what we have to look at first, and I don't want to say relief, it's round 8 to us, right? Today was round 8 for us, and my message to them was, hey, sometimes it just takes a big round. It takes a round where you cut somebody to, in a win round to build some momentum. And so, but there was no secret to why, in my opinion, and I think for the guys, there was no secret to why we performed well today. It happened every day in practice. And I'm not saying we haven't practiced. I mean, like what happened on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday was the intensity was so high, the detail was so high. It was just, again, that was our message to continue to grow. And the only way to continue to grow is if you're going to have intensity in practice and you're going to have detail. And I think the guys locked into that, and they practiced well all week. Jalen practiced well all week. We really felt confident, both offensively, defensively, and special teams with how we practice. And that just gives you confidence going in, because the way you practice, I don't care what level you're at, the way you practice is going to be similar to the way you play in that game.
Every coach you ever had should have said that to you. How you practice is how you're going to play. And that's what Nick Sirianni said after yesterday's game. He was asked point blank about the criticism. And that is how he decided to answer the question about the criticism he faced after the flower speech. Flower speech Wednesday, followed by a great practice, followed by the press conference, followed by more great practices. I'm going to jump around a little bit here because Dallas Goedert was also asked about the week of criticism and how he decided to address that when he was asked about it after the game.
It really started on Wednesday. Coach Sirianni had a great team meeting, and it was some of our best 3 practices of the year. We were flying around on Wednesday, looked really crisp. Thursday, same thing. And then, you get into the more situation. Everybody was locked in, paying attention to the details. And, I think that's what showed just how hard we worked at practice. And then coming into the game, it really showed how detailed we were and able to do a lot of things.
One of the things that I always jump to whenever it comes to locker room mentality, dog mentality, as Nick Sirianni likes to talk about it. One thing I always try to keep in mind is, and we tried to even entertain the idea that we were wrong. And Mike Sealski was on with me last week where he talked about how, he maybe a flower speech to me now as a 40-some-year-old man doesn't mean the same as it means to a 20-something football player now, as it might have when I was that age playing. That's what Mike said. And, that's another way to look at it. Whatever Nick Sirianni said, it worked. And it's not just because of a 44-6 win over the Lions. It's because the players obviously rallied around not just the flower speech, but how the flower speech was taken by the people of Philadelphia, myself included. So it's not for us. The locker room talk is not for us. I know a lot of times it's happened in the past where negative things have leaked out from a locker room speech. Things have come out, and it's like, oh, how could you say that as a human being about another human being? And it's like, you're not the audience. I'm not the audience. The flower speech isn't meant to reach me. The flower speech is meant to reach the people in that locker room who Nick Sirianni is interacting with every single day. And if that's the button that needed to be pushed to get these wheels turning for some of these guys, all right. I'm going to go ahead and say it was because of great offensive line play, great running back play, smart decisions by Jalen Hurts for the most part, and a good game plan. I'm going to say overall that had a little bit more to do with winning a game than talking about how you're going to have your roots right now before we grow into a flower, right? And you got to be fertilized and stuff, right? And I even joked during the game on Twitter saying, like, yeah, the Lions are looking at the Eagles right now and saying, these guys are well fertilized. There's no way we don't stand a chance. It's all about how you play the game. And whatever gets you focused, if that's what it took, then by all means, have a lot more of it as the season goes on. But listening to Dallas Goedert talk about that right there, that lets you know that message, whatever it was, as silly as it might sound, that really resonated with a lot of players on this roster. And they wanted to defend their head coach, and not just him, but also the rest of the team as well. Nick Sirianni also talked about running the ball as much as they did in this game and how that was the game plan going into it.
Again, we do what we need to do to win football games and what we think is best to win football games. We got some good runs early on, and when the offensive line kept coming back to the sideline saying, hey, we got a lot of momentum right here. We're pushing them up front. And so we just kept staying with it. And I thought Jalen did a good job of checking us in and out of some plays and in and out of some looks. And so, yeah, we did what we needed to do to win this football game, and it was great to see us be able to run the football like that. So it played really physical up front, and that's where it always starts right there.
I can't say it enough. It's not just because it's the Lions. Please take a lot of the same philosophies that you used in this game and apply it down the line. I cannot scream that from the mountaintops enough. The Eagles need to use what they used in this game, not as often because they're not going to get this opportunity again. Same philosophies, same play calls, same type of thing. You can use it next week against the Chargers. Use it on Sunday against the Chargers. A lot of them are still going to work. I can see Quez Watkins running that jet screen, as I said earlier. I can see that happening. I can see Jalen Hurts checking out a lot of these plays. I can see another little throwback play there. I can see that working against the Chargers. You're going to be throwing the ball a lot more on Sunday. We all get that. But that doesn't mean you can't use the run to help set up some of those passes. Because overall, that's going to be phenomenal. And also, be aggressive. Defensively speaking, Jonathan Gannon, who we won't hear from till Wednesday or Thursday this week, use some of these same concepts as well. I actually saw man-to-man coverage out there, not soft zone that we see so much of. You actually saw guys being aggressive. I saw linebackers blitzing. I saw a safety blitz in this game. I saw Marcus Epps playing the most aggressive I've ever seen him play in an Eagles uniform. Let me see more of it. Because it's good to actually make a play on defense as opposed to just wait for the offense to make a mistake. And if you're sitting back in soft zone against Justin Herbert, guess what? He's going to end up picking you apart. So if you're aggressive, maybe force him into a mistake, help out your offense or defensive line a little bit there. Maybe you're going to have some more good things happen. Now, the philosophy you can take from this Lions game and apply it later on in the season. We already gave you Nick on the rest of the week. This is where I'll always default to. It's good to say, Jalen Hurts, you don't have to be the offense. It's always good to say that to a player. You don't have to be the entire offense. And Jalen Hurts certainly was not the guy to be the entire offense this time around. Played well. Made one weird play where he stepped out of bounds and threw the ball away after. Ended up not hurting the Eagles. They ended up still getting a touchdown. It was weird, but good for them. But overall, asked to do very little in this game. And I'm not saying that you only ask him to throw the ball 15 times a game or what have you, but maybe it's good to take a little bit of that pressure off him and let him know that there's a run game there and an offensive line he can play behind that are there to help him out from time to time. And also let him know there's a head coach that wants to help him out as well by not putting everything on his shoulders. And one of the things I loved after the game from Jalen Hurts, when he was asked about this offensive game plan, he said, look, I don't care how many times I throw the football. Did we win? It's all that matters. And I believe him when he says it. Some guys I think are just saying it just to say it because they know that makes him seem like a really great guy. But Jalen Hurts, I actually believes it. And I think him coming out after the game saying like, oh, yeah, we won, so I don't care. Or he put up great numbers, but they lost. Hey, look, we lost. Love this guy. But here is Nick Sirianni being asked by Jeff McClain at Inquirer.com about not asking Jalen Hurts to do everything and taking something off his plate.
Jeff, that's a good point because, yes, you do it that way, but you also got to do what you do well, right? And so I think that's what we're saying. Like we're able to push some guys around, it's up front, and so it is. It's a combination. It's a both and. It's yes to both, right? You want to do what the defense is allowing you to do while still doing the things that you've been successful with. So yeah, it's great when you're able to run the football like that. It opens up everything else again because I know we didn't throw for very many yards. But the play action game, the chunks that we got to Dallas, particularly in the play action game, came off of some very unique run looks that we did earlier in the game, and they had to bring the extra guy down to stop the run. And so, again, yes. So to answer your question, it's both. It's what you're doing well. It's what you want to continue to build on with your offense, but also what the defense is giving you. So it's a fine line, but you got to do both of those things.
Too many times this year I've heard Nick Sirianni talk about, this is what they do well, so we have to counter that. How about taking your best and just throwing it in the face of the other team? Every once in a while, you got to do that. You can't just say, this is what they do really well, so we got to make sure we don't play into that. Well, how about this? This is our best stuff. Try to stop us. And just throw that in the other team's face every once in a while. I've talked about the same thing in basketball. And we saw over the weekend Tyrese Maxey is going to stay in the starting lineup as long as Ben Simmons is not with the team or not playing in these games. He's better off the bench. The hell with that. If he's one of your best players, put him in the starting five. Have him play his starting five. Best throw it at the other team. Say deal with it. One of the things Boston got into after this game was we were running the ball. They couldn't stop us. I dare you to stop us. Taking your best, throwing it into the other team's face, regardless of what their game plan was, and saying, yeah, go ahead and stop us. Or maybe you didn't expect to have as much success in the run game. but it worked in the game, so you kept at it. Thanks to the leaders on this team actually going out there and saying to the head coach, let's keep this going. And Nick Sirianni giving Jalen Hurts credit for checking out of a couple of plays just to run the ball. More power to him. It was a great team win, even though it was against the Lions. Great team win. I'm not going to take anything away from it as long as they keep on using what they used in this game going forward. That's the philosophy you want to see. One of the best moments of the game was Avonte Maddox punching that ball out, and then Darius Slay getting the scoop and score there. That was the Detroit connection on that play because Avonte Maddox is from Detroit. Darius Slay had played, obviously, the vast majority of his career out there for the Lions, so he gets the score. I'm sure a huge play for him. But after the touchdown, Avonte Maddox went up to Darius Slay and said, hey, can I get that ball? I want to give it to my dad. And you saw on the TV, you saw Avonte Maddox throwing the ball to somebody in the crowd. And I think we all assumed it was his dad, but, you never know. So after the game, he said he wanted the football, and he gave it to his dad, and they got to have a special moment there. And then they'll talk about it when he got on the bus, whatever. But Avonte Maddox, this is pretty cool. After the game, he was asked about Jonathan Gannon always wanting his players to be aggressive and go after the ball. So Avonte Maddox has started just trying to punch every ball out. And he was even joking how he did it to Miles Sanders a couple of times in practice throughout the year. And while he's answering the question about punching the ball out and everything that went into that play and how he's trying to just make that his instinct now, the play, I guess, was being shown again on replay in the press conference room. So as he's answering the question at the very end, he looks up and sees him making the play, and he gets a little smile on his face. But here's Avonte Maddox after the game.
Practice, just making it, an instinct, you don't want to have to think about it. Want to become an instinct at some point. So, I've been, since camp started, and I've been working on punching the ball out a lot, since JG been making so much big of an emphasis on it. And, I was running up to the guy, and I'm like, I'm about to punch this out. And, a lot of guys think, on contact, that's when they cover up. But I was going to punch it out, no contact. I wasn't even going for the tackle. I was going for the punch out. So, it came up big there and got us a turnover. Like I said, Slade got a chance to pick it up, so that's pretty cool. He got the return for the touchdown. And there you go right there. Pretty nice.
There I am right there being awesome. Do you guys see that? Everyone turn around, look at me being awesome again. We the Billy Davis years, which I know we all want to forget because it's the same as Chip Kelly years, but we all talked about how they had the dummies set up throughout the entire NovaCare complex, and basically they were tackling dummies with little arms off of them and Velcroed footballs to the arms of these dummies. They were like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, but whatever. So they had the football out there, and players, when they walked by, they had to smack the football out. And that was all over the place. Cafeteria, coming out of the locker room, going out to the practice field, and just smack it up. Whatever. But I'm sure for a lot of those players, at least got the wheels turning that they always got to smack and punch that ball out. Whatever has been doing for Avonte Maddox, I love seeing this because I have seen him go back to the playmaker that he is in a lesser role. His rookie year, that guy made plays left and right. I remember they had a scoop and score in the London game that Avonte Maddox was in on. The guy can make plays. He just can't be that starting outside corner that they tried to make him last year. He deserved the opportunity. It didn't work out. Him playing back on the inside has allowed him to be a lot more aggressive, a lot more confident, and allowed him to concentrate on what he does really well. So you see him start to, again, make plays this year. If punching the football out, and I know Peanut Tillman, I think you're obligated to mention Peanut Tillman and the peanut punch every time something like this happens. If that's going to become part of his game and he's forcing turnovers for this Eagles team, then he's even going to be more valuable on the defensive side of things, especially when you don't have a defense that's used to being so aggressive. Avonte Maddox, be aggressive, go after that football. Let's get into this Lane Johnson conversation because I highly recommend people give this a listen. I'm going to go serious first, and then we'll end on the run thing, the run game. But here is Lane Johnson when he was asked by Marcus Hayes of Inquirer.com and the Daily News about when he felt like it was okay to return to the team.
Yeah, I felt stable. So basically what hindered me from going was I'm on a medication, an SSRI, and had really bad withdrawal symptoms. So and that's really something, football wasn't even a question at the time. It was something that I felt even before the season. Some of the stuff I was feeling, and I didn't really told a few close friends, but really kept it bottled up because I felt ashamed of it. I felt like it was a crutch But, coming back, the support I've had from the team, from my friends, from my family, I couldn't ask for nothing better. And getting out here and playing football again is, you're reminded how lucky you are to be in the position that you are. And so taking it day by day.
I love hearing how much support he's got. And I've only heard a couple of people act like Lane Johnson's not supposed to be a human being because he makes a lot of money, because he plays a game for a living. Oh, get out there. You're being paid a lot of money. Yeah, I don't know the amount of money you could ever make that makes you stop being a human being, especially when it comes to emotions, anxiety, depression, whatever it might be. I don't think that way. I don't know how people could just, stop being a human because you're rich. What? And I love the amount of support. And I love that this is coming to light in the way that it has in recent years, with people being a lot more understanding and actually saying to themselves, okay, maybe the way I was raised is a lot different than the way other people were raised. And I think I told you guys before, like in my house growing up, like I grew up with a grandfather whose ship got torpedoed. So it was like, if I had a problem, it's like, yeah, my ship got torpedoed. Tell me again how you don't like your teacher. Like that didn't like it's a lot of times emotions were dispelled because, somebody had it a lot worse than you did. But that's not the case anymore. People are allowed to be human. People are allowed to have depression. People are allowed to have anxiety, and people are are encouraged to acknowledge it's okay to not be okay, and you can get help. And I think Lane Johnson is a great example of that. And I can't say that enough. This was something that really caught me off guard when he said this. And if you do go back and you watch Lane Johnson's press conference, one of the things he gets into was that he and Brandon Brooks would throw up before every game. And this is right at the end of the press conference, and it's almost like a throwaway line. Like you're not really expecting, like the buildup wasn't there, but he's talking about it, and then he throws out a time. Like, oh yeah, 5:30, we throw up. That was the mark time. Like it's wild. It's absolutely wild. Here's Lane Johnson talking about he and Brandon Brooks, who had also missed games with anxiety, with mental health issues, starting a couple of years ago. And here's how they kind of helped each other through it.
Well, mine and Brandon's situation may be a little bit different, but a lot of it's very similar. So a lot of stuff when he was going through it, I understood because, you talked about how he puked every game day. I mean, I was right there with him, 5:30. So, he was probably the main guy to help, with this situation. And I think how he handled it was phenomenal. And I think he was, liberated from it. And so that was really it.
Like, oh yeah, 5:30. 5:30 was when I would throw up from anxiety and depression. 5:30, I was making myself an espresso. Like, to hear them talk about it, and to hear him talk about it in that matter of fact, like daily routine type of thing. Like, you usually overlook things in your daily routine because you're concentrating on getting ready for the rest of the day. I can't imagine the buildup that went into that moment for those guys in terms of, all right, let me just do this, and then maybe I'll feel a little bit better, or maybe I'm just been like, I can't relate. It's God bless him. On a lighter note, on a football note, Lane was one of the people that went over to Nick Sirianni and said, this run game is working. Let's not get away from this. Let's not abandon it. Let's not ignore it. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep running the ball down their throats. That's exactly what they did. Lane Johnson on this little exchange with the media on how well and how great it was to run the football as well as they did in yesterday's win over the Lions.
We had an excellent run game today, and that was as offensive lineman, that's a lot of fun, getting to do that, getting to fire off the ball.
Was it overdue, in your opinion? I mean, you guys have shown the capacity to be productive when you've been given the chance to run, block, and run the ball. Do you think that maybe this coaching staff is learning the strengths of this team after 7 or 8 games here?
Yeah, really, when you go back and look at it, you start off how you want to in Atlanta, and then you get kind of stale. But when you go and look at the situations, you get down in those games, you're going to throw the ball. I mean, much like today with Detroit, you get behind, 14, whatever. You get in those situations, it is what it is. It becomes a passing game. The game changes.
Were you one of the guys that went to Nick on the sideline and offensive line and said, "Hey, let's keep running it. We feel like we're winning off
today"?
Yeah, he said that some of the guys came to him.
Yeah, I just think really from the jump, I guess you could see it, how it was going to go, and it kept becoming, I guess, the most consistent that we've had so far this season. And so I just kept fueling it, I guess.
Just keep it coming, man. And like how happy Lane is to talk about running the football and just getting to hit guys, get right off the ball, boom, make the hit, and then move on to the next play. I can't imagine the rhythm that helps an offensive line establish. So great to see that. Copy, cut, paste against the Chargers. You're not going to have the same success. We all get it. I don't care if they're putting 8 men in the box the entire time. You still got to run the football to make the defense think you're still going to run the football. And then, play action. Ain't it cool? I showed you Dallas Goedert earlier. I think Dallas Goedert has been flourishing as the number one tight end, and I don't think it's any mistake that they had him in on so many different run plays in this game. Great catching the ball. Hey, that the stats look great, but how he was run blocking in this particular game was great as well. I can remember a game in the week 2 years ago in Atlanta, where the Eagles, they got all those injuries, like Alshon Jeffrey was injured, Deshaun Jackson was injured, Dallas Goedert was injured. And I remember Jason Kelce saying after that game that they had to throw out a lot of their playbook because Dallas Goedert wasn't in there to run block. He certainly flourished in doing that yesterday, and certainly has flourished as the number one tight end here. So it's great to see that from Dallas Goedert for this Eagles offense. Love seeing it. Before we get to our social media check-in, let me tell you about the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics who brought us that post-game report there from the Eagles locker room and the press conferences. Rothman Orthopaedics, ladies and gentlemen, trust Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Hope you guys had some fun with WinView over the weekend, especially in this World Series. A lot going on in this World Series now that the Houston Astros have forced a Game 6 back in H-Town. So you got that going on. But WinView, the only game where fans can take on other fans and debate once and for all who's the biggest sports fan and who knows more. You got friends and family coming up here for the holiday season getting underway. They always think they know everything. They know more than you. See if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk with the WinView Challenge. Play during a quarter of Monday Night Football. It certainly makes dinners and get-togethers for family gatherings a lot more interesting. Yeah, not really going well in your fantasy football league? Challenge a WinView Challenge, and you're off and running. Whether you're tracking the games on Sunday, whether you're tracking the games in the World Series, you can see which teams and which players are killing it for you with the WinView app. It's a social gaming app where you can win real money prizes for making predictions on the games you love. So make sure you download the WinView app right now. Also, want to tell you about Steak and Main at steakandmain.com. Look like they had a lot of fun through the Halloween weekend. All the servers dressing up. Tony Cavada, my man, all his staff looking phenomenal at Steak and Main. But whether or not you want to dine in their upscale steakhouse, their casual bar and patio, whatever it might be, you're going to have a great meal and a great time at Steak and Main in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Voted number one place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Do what I do, folks. 2-pound tomahawk steak, a fine Pinot Noir from Cavada Cellars Wines, from his family to your family, right there to your table. Oh, what a great wine pairing that is. Freshly prepared sushi, fresh, amazing cuts of meat. Fresh seafood daily. It is just amazing. Steak and Main in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Do what I do. Go to steakandmain.com for more information. You'll have yourself a great time. How about BetQL? Made a couple of bets over the weekend. Made myself a couple of bucks off of BetQL, who advised me to make the bets that I made. Download the BetQL app right now. The only app you'll need to make smart bets. The Best Bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports, and they give you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, player props as well. You don't want to use the model and prefer to do your own research? BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs, everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, and even leaderboards to track your success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now and download the BetQL app. How about PHL Sports Nation? That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show. Time for our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. Hello, everyone in our comment section. Nice to see you guys today. Kevin, what's happening? Dan, good morning. Did you see a flower begin to sprout or? Very nice, Dan. Peter, ribs, beer, and Eagles win. Perfect trifecta. Nice plate of ribs. Enjoy. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, April. Happy Victory Monday. Farzy in the chat. What's up, T-Bro? Nice to see you, buddy. Told my buddy that if the Eagles beat any team by 35-plus points this year, I'd do crack. The point being, I'm in... Dan, what the hell's the matter with you? How's the diaper, Dan? How's the diaper? April, the lack of penalties was the biggest thing for me. This made such a difference in the game. You're absolutely right. One guapo. They ran the ball and won. Go figure. Everyone but Gainwell, who was on my fantasy team. Gainwell got picked up by a lot of people. But you know what my dumbass did? Smart, I picked up Boston Scott. Dumb, he sat on my bench. Nick Chubb didn't have a bounce back game like I hoped he would. That didn't happen. Plus, even with playing the Lions, I regret nothing. Because I made the right move. Like, even BetQL told me to make this move. Like, I look at it like this. I watched Nick Sirianni for the first 7 games. No, he doesn't like running the football. So even against the Lions, I didn't feel like they were going to run the football. And, of course, they ended up running the ball 46 times. Damn it! 2 touchdowns, by the way. Good times. Everyone with Gainwell, Dan, you're correct. April, shut up, Joe. Let me enjoy things. Yeah, Joe. It was only the Lions. Shut up, Joe. Anyway. Just peel back the curtain for a second. I have a neighbor named Joe who watches the show. Joe, how you doing, buddy? Sorry, not a lot of Flyers conversation today. But he came down and walked down the street the other day, and he was just like, "Hey, I'm not Joe, am I?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "You're talking about Joe on your show, like annoying guy, Joe. That's not me, right?" I was like, "Of course not, absolutely not." But I just feel like Joe is a name that everyone knows a Joe. Joe. So not you, Joe, the general Joe. Shut up. Definitely need to watch that. Sounds like a great interview. April, check it out. The Lane Johnson interview is fantastic. Dan Schwartz, line at -3 Chargers. Not terrible. That is not terrible as of right now. Jalen Reagor's out for an extended period of time. If that happens, maybe they'll sign Jordan Matthews. Dan, I don't think you're far off. Sean, what's happening, Sean? Good morning, YouTubers. Good morning to you. Dan, hola to Sean. That's nice. Sean Gillespie. I like the name Gillespie. It's a fine name. Just random thought. Can you ever get enough B-Doc? No, B-Doc was on with our friend Derek Gunn. I think April pointed that out, or Dan. I haven't watched the interview yet. Really look forward to watching it. First off, you know how I love Gunner. Second, Brian Dawkins is like one of my favorite human beings in the history of the planet. Just phenomenal football player, goes without saying. But he didn't win in Philadelphia, and he's probably the most revered athlete of our generation. And like that's something. Oh yeah, of course people love Chase Utley. He won a championship. No, they also loved him before that because he played like a Philadelphian would want to play. And I always say that about Dawkins. I always say that about like Chase Utley. Like if you were to pluck a fan out of the stands with the same passion and intensity and say go play football, they would play like Dawkins. They would play like Chase Utley. They would play like those guys who just busted their ass to try to win football games. It was only the Lions. Bam! Joe gets kicked in the nads. Very nice, Dan. You might want to go see HR if that happens in the workplace. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Oh my God. April, I never even heard that. I'll read it out loud. So April is saying that her daughter's autistic. She goes, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say my daughter doesn't look autistic or anxious. Please tell me what mental health is supposed to look like. I never heard that. That is the dumbest thing I've like. She doesn't look autistic. God bless you. That's a special kind of stupid. Wow. Peter, what's happening? Thanks for joining the chat. Appreciate you. B-Doc fires up everybody. He absolutely does. I will get Brian Dawkins on the show. But here's what I'm going to do for you. I already told you we're going to get Claude Giroux on the show at some point. That's going to happen. I'm also going to tell you that we're going to get Brian Dawkins on. He's been great. He's been really kind to me throughout my career. We'll get him on the show eventually. I promise you that. Also, we're going to get Kevin Agandi on the show on another news. That's just national voice. Kevin Agandi on the show at some point, and then maybe Dan Orlovsky can help us sum up everything in this season, maybe in December to recap all that's going on with this Eagles team. So we'll see what's going on as far as that goes. Thanks everyone. Chris Long is funny, man. I'd love to get him on the show. Love that guy. Thanks everyone that checked in on the social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Let's jump into our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars and skymotorcars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah. Washington lost yesterday. They're now 2-6 on the season. They lost 17-10 to the Broncos, who are now 4-4 on the season. Broncos blocked 2 field goals. They blocked 2 field goals. So Washington sucks. That's fun. Giants play tonight against the Chiefs. Giants, of course, 2-5. They play Monday Night Football, as one would assume. And then the other game was the Dallas Cowboys in Sunday Night Football. Beat the Minnesota Vikings 20-16 in a game where Cooper Rush started his first ever NFL game and balled out in this game. 24 of 40 passing, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception, was sacked 3 times. The Dallas Cowboys also had Cedric Wilson throw a touchdown pass in that game. That was pretty amazing on a not a touchdown pass. It was a 35-yard pass where he caught the ball in the backfield, scrambled in the middle of the field, bombed it down the field, and then I think they later got a touchdown on that drive. But Dallas was getting pretty creative. Ezekiel Elliott, a little bit back down to earth, 50 yards in this game. And he only had 4 catches for 23 yards. So 73 yards there for Zeke Elliott in the game. So Eagles right there, still chasing the Cowboys for first place. But the Vikings taking a loss helps the Eagles' cause when it comes to the overall NFC picture. So that's good to see. Because also, hey, you might say it's the Lions. It's still an NFC win as well, which comes into a tiebreaker situation later in the year. So that's what you got in the social media check. Oh, excuse me, the morning rush. Also wanted to mention this. The Astros, like I said, they came back. The Braves, Brian Snicker, yesterday started a rookie who last started a game. And I understand it's a bullpen game, opener, whatever you call it. But started a rookie to open the game last night who gave you 2 innings, allowed 4 runs, walked 3, if I'm not mistaken. He hadn't started a game since he allowed 5 runs to the Red Sox back in June. And then here he is making his postseason debut in Game 5 of the World Series, a game that the Braves were looking to eliminate the Astros. Now they go back to Houston for the Astros to try to get things going again. So how about that? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully we covered all the bases for you. Tomorrow we'll concentrate a little bit more on that World Series. We'll see if we get Hugh Lamont Douglas III back on the show and talk a little World Series as well as this Eagles win. What it means going forward, we'll talk about that, as well as what the Sixers had to do over the weekend, and the Flyers took a bad loss over the weekend. We'll get to that a little bit more tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name's Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. And hey, if you miss me by the time we're done here, guess what? More me later this morning on Fox 29, 745. We'll be talking about this Eagles victory with Alex and Mike on Fox 29. Once again, 745. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Be back with you guys tomorrow.